Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to the weekend Daily Red, ladies and gentlemen. It's Saturday, the 21st of September. The birds are out, a few of them. I am doing this early. I am Dave Davis coming to you from Edinburgh, just outside of Edinburgh, on Saturday, the 21st of September, where we'll play Bournemouth. And I'm actually doing this quite early because I've got to drive down and head down there, etc. So getting my scarf and everything ready. And off to the match I go. And there we go, ladies and gents. So it is the weekend Daily Red. It is all things Liverpool. It is so much to discuss. And we will naturally discuss Bournemouth, all the things that we want to talk about, all predictions. We'll talk about the articles I'm seeing this morning, just having a bit of a scan through different bits. So that's interesting. We'll talk about Arne Slot's press conference briefly at the same time as well. And various other things. The one thing about the press conference is, someone asked me this actually last week, why don't you talk about it too much on this? There's a couple of reasons for that. Anfield Index, number one, we kind of released the transcript, don't we, of the press conference and the key quotes so everyone can see that. It is obviously done through LFC TV, so you can re-watch it. And then the third thing is I do it on post-conference presser as well, which I did yesterday. So it kind of all gets covered realistically, ladies and gents, in that regard. But just in case anyone missed the headlines or the takeaways, Alisson is a doubt for this game. So, yeah, he said that it's a muscle strain, isn't it? Like a hamstring strain. And Slot said in the press conference, if he didn't train on Friday, then he wouldn't play. Now, we're sort of digging around as we do at Anfield Index. Suggestions were that Alisson did not train, we had, on Friday. So naturally, that would mean even Kelleher is expected to come in to the starting lineup, which he's he's a talented player. He had a great game against England for Ireland the other day, didn't he, as well? He's a class keeper, gives him a little bit of a run. Obviously, he's explained what he's looking to do with his career, but he's got real use for us because he'll play against West Ham in the Carabao Cup at the same time as well, won't he? So good for Queven Kelleher to maybe get a bit of if warm was the right word, but yeah, that is the sort of big news ahead of any lineups in a few hours when they'll be announced. That's the big one. But yeah, that's just why we don't really touch too much on the press conference there. People can read and see that. Liverpool have annoyed someone, though. Liverpool have annoyed a Labour councillor from the area who said they should stop treating Anfield with contempt, as in the area. So quite a few places have got this. The Liverpool councillor for Everton East, Ellie Byrne, reading here, said, she's furious about Liverpool applying to pedestrianised parts of Anfield Road. Obviously, with the expansion that was pedestrianised during the building, it was expected it would go back. But you can, for those who go to match day, you can see it's going to be a nightmare to pedestrianise that again. But you understand the residents will not be happy. And as Ellie Byrne said, I will completely and utterly fight against this planning application and oppose it wholeheartedly. Liverpool has took no responsibility in how our area looks. Just look at the roads and general area. I understand Liverpool Council has a major part to play. However, a corporation who is making millions of pounds of profit from our area should have social responsibility to the area and residents. I know other football clubs do. It's almost sad to hear that in a way, because we know the expansion, the money that will be made from that. We've seen all the stories about the Taylor Swift concerts, didn't we? And just how much they are brought in to Liverpool and the local area, we heard. So if it's not being reinvested into that, I know we love Liverpool, but the residents of Anfield who live there all the time should still have a say, shouldn't they? I mean, you look at that figure from the Taylor Swift concerts, 31 million that it brought in. It should really, let's be honest, some of it be going into the local area. But we'll see what happens. It's still hard to imagine the area around Anfield will get pedestrianised. So that's that one. Probably for a player's perspective, because we used to see this now each week, aren't we? A player talking around the game, how they're getting on, all sorts of things. Cody Gakpo was up this week. An interesting one after that performance in the San Siro the other night. So I'll just bring out a couple of quotes from Cody, and he was asked questions naturally, so that's how it runs. It's on the official site if you want to read it fully. It was your first start of the season at club level. How pleased were you with your own performance? Obviously, I was happy to start, and yeah, I think I played a good game, but I was even more happy that we won, because in the end, you can play good, but then if you don't win, it doesn't actually matter. I thought he was really good, yeah. Though he got an assist, but took on his man, looked dynamic, looked aggressive all of a sudden, which has been lacking, I think, in his play since it really is. I think he's been at Anfield, and I genuinely believe the toughest decision may have made it already for all we know. Arne Slot may have made it this morning, who knows? But the toughest decision I believe that Arne Slot has on his docket is who starts at the left wing, Diaz or Gakpo. That is so hard. I mean, the competition is incredible there. And funnily enough, actually, just another one I'll pick up. The question was asked to him. There is so much competition for places all over the pitch, but perhaps particularly in the forward line. Does that motivate you further? Because when you do get the opportunity, you have to play well. What was his response? Yeah, I think there is a lot of competition, but I think what you say is right. That will push us to become better players. And in the end, we all benefit from that. And hopefully the team does well, that we can score more or give more assists or play better and help the team win. And at the end, hopefully that will lead to trophies. Perfect textbook answer there from Cody Gakpo, wasn't it, realistically? I mean, Gakpo or Diaz, you make a case for Bournemouth, don't you, this weekend? As long as they play well, it'd be great if they both played well, wouldn't it? If one came on for sub, rotation, however that is going to work. And then the other will likely start in the Carabao Cup game, you would suspect, at the same time. But yeah, if they're staying a bit, they're playing well, they're getting goal contributions. What more can you really ask from your left-sided attacker? I don't really think, personally, I've got anything you can add to that. The other one I'll pull out, because he did get asked about Forest and what you can learn, and that's naturally going to be a focus for today, isn't it? There are those just little bit of nerves. I'm feeling them. That strange. Everyone will look at the San Siro and the great result against AC Milan, but even this morning, everyone sort of sat there thinking, okay, will they play a low block? Will it be like last weekend? Will there be any sense of deja vu? It's a completely different test, isn't it, the Premier League? So what did Cody Gakpo say? Said that we just have to keep going all the time, keep fighting hard for each other. I think it was not our best game, but we still need to accept that at some point, sometimes that happens. We just have to fight for that one goal that will come, because we've always got some chances. So we have to fight for that and try not to concede. I think that's the key thing. I think we have so much quality. Obviously, it happened that we didn't score, but hopefully it will not happen that much this season that we don't get a goal. Yeah, I think that's fair. You'd hope not. If we, let's be honest, if we play anything like last weekend, this season will not be a successful one by any metrics whatsoever. So let's hope it's different today. We'll see. We'll see what Cody Gakpo does, if he starts or if he's on the bench. Other things that came out in the press, and I mean, I'm even scanning over a few bits here. So there's one from Paul Gorst on Zubimendi. He spoke about it yesterday to the Redmen. So quite a few different quotes kicking around. And naturally, the Zubimendi story's almost got traction again, hasn't it? Because Indicalier tweeted about Liverpool being in for him and Zubimendi regretting his decision to stay. Then a few Spanish places ran it. Then I obviously got to the UK press about Spanish places running it. It seemed like Indicalier must have just been the source possibly for all of it. That's something to be aware of. And then the other side is a few were saying, no, it's just not true. There's nothing in it, as per a few Sociedad journalists yesterday, unfortunately. So what did Paul Gorst say to the Redmen? This is what he said. He said, so it's just one I can't really see happening. They certainly liked him as a player. I don't think that admiration has gone away on the back of what might have been a difficult start of the season for Sociedad. I'd just be surprised if Liverpool went back in for this one. And maybe they will see priorities elsewhere when January rolls around. It will be one to keep an eye on for those who are keeping an eye on the Spanish football for any reason at all. The Sociedad are already 16th. They haven't a bad start to the season. They scored 3 goals in the league, a really poor return. They're never high scorers, but they are shipping goals now at the same time with absences. Zubimendi isn't been fully on it, for the bits I've seen. It's fair to say at the same time. Yeah, it's a mixed bag, this one, isn't it? Because a lot of people are talking like, we shouldn't do this, shouldn't go back in. But if we want him, if Arne Slot really wants him, and he can get done in Jan, that's fine. If it can't, let's move on and just forget it. But this one will probably drag right the way through to January. So we'll keep an eye on that one. You'll have your predictions on that. And predictions-wise, Paul Merson does them, doesn't he? He does them every week, and he always has a say on Liverpool. He usually gets it wildly wrong because he predicted United would beat us, and then, like most people, to be fair, he predicted Forest would win. But what has he said about this one? He's predicted a 2-0 win for Liverpool, which I have as well, which is massively worrying down. He goes, I watched Liverpool in their loss against Nottingham Forest, and I thought they should move the ball a lot quicker. But Liverpool are fortunate since City and Arsenal play each other this weekend. The Reds can game on these two teams with a win over Bournemouth. In that regard, the loss to Forest might not affect them badly as we think. No, I still think it didn't help, but yeah, it would be good if... I think a draw might be the best result for this weekend for City Arsenal. We'll have to see. Mercer did offer his opinion on formation and lineup, though. He said, Slot has to play Gakpo in this fixture. I thought he was brilliant in the win over Milan. He also performed so well at the Euros, but we haven't seen the same from him at Liverpool. Gakpo was going past people for fun and making the right decisions at the Euros. I'd be shocked if he doesn't start. And as a Bournemouth player, I wouldn't want to face him. Couple of points on that for Paul, unfortunately. So we haven't seen the same from him at Liverpool because he's not started a game for the San Siro. That's his first start of the season, Paul Merson. He's come off the bench. Sometimes, especially like Boris, we've not seen the same. Yeah, well, the whole team was rubbish. So he's not really played that much as well. Going past people for fun, we saw that quite often the other night, didn't we? Which was brilliant. Yeah, and I can understand that logic about people having him start. The bit where he said, I'd be shocked, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be shocked either way, as he said, whether it's Diaz or Gakpo. As we mentioned on the Stat Me Up pod, Slot's broken a new record for only having a variety of 12 players starting in his first 4 games in his Liverpool tenure, which, beats a lot of other managers and head coaches previously. So would it surprise me? Absolutely not one jot. But we will have to see there. I'd say Paul Merson's prediction, though, 2-0 would be nice, wouldn't it, at the same time? Other articles I've been scanning through this morning for you over my cornflakes. Sam Maguire did one I caught this morning for Anfield Watch. Now, this one is about maybe an alternative, you would say, to Zubimendi, and that's what the article alludes to. Angel Gomez, Angel they were calling him as though he was Spanish, but he is an English midfielder, an English international, a former United youth player, isn't he? Now at Lille. The important thing to say is he has been linked with Liverpool in a few places. People are saying he's only got an expected value of 15.6 million as per transfer market, but he's into the last year of his contract. So in January, like we know 3 players that can, and there's no news on them, he could sign a pre-contract agreement. So it's an interesting article. It's a good read through Anfield Watch if you're not seen it. So it talks about almost the pros and cons. And I'll pull a few bits for you here about him having a great pass volume, averaging about 60 completed passes per 90, 89% pass completion, and really creative, carving out an average of 3.66 shot creating actions per 90. I know people won't like per 90 stats, but I think that's important to mention at the same time. So there's a lot on the ball, as Sam writes about. He profiles well as a Liverpool midfielder. So that's the upside. The downside, you always makes me nervous when I hear he's 5'6", and when I see him, he's not the most physical. Averaging fewer than 2 tackles per 90 so far, and just a 50% success rate as well. Kind of struggles in duels on the ground and the air. Very much more, as Sam writes, more of a controller than a physical player, as it were. So, yeah, the physicality, I think that's the worry for this boy, isn't it? Could he be physical? I suppose the other side, people are going to argue. He's English, he's a homegrown, and you can get him on a free. But you don't know. You never know what's going on. But there's quite a few outlets have mentioned Liverpool are interested in him, along with various other Premier League clubs. United again, Arsenal have been mentioned. So we will see if anything comes of that. So it's good just to keep an eye on a bit of transfer news, isn't it, ahead of the big things. We had the weirdest story, and I've seen people mention it again today, even doubly deny it. Trent Alexander-Arnold, of all the stories I thought I would hear of Trent Alexander-Arnold in the last few days, none of the stories I wanted to hear, by the way, because everyone got carried away with him in a full kit. I mean, does that mean it'll be, a new contract? It clearly wasn't, etc. But this one I thought was absolutely fascinating. Trent is not buying none to the French football team. Never thought I would have to say that on a podcast. Brilliant, eh? So, yeah, it's the stories came yesterday and reading this morning that all of a sudden through L'Équipe, Friday morning it breaks, isn't it? Trent through his dad and the investment group. They've held talks for over a year, etc. And looked at this and looked at other clubs. Could Trent Alexander-Arnold be buying a football club before FSG and get Michael Edwards getting his hands on it? How incredible that would have been. So that was even before Arne Slot's press conference. However, by about 10 o'clock or 10-ish, James Pearce, in spectacular style, had shot it down and just said, I have heard this is not true. And then further things have followed, so confirmation sources close, that famous one to Trent. And then, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong because I'm reading here in the article I'm reading this morning, Valdemir Keita, I think it's pronounced, the owner said, it's nonsense. Where did this come from? Alexander-Arnold. I don't even know him. I just spoke with my lawyer. I asked him, who is this guy? I never had a call with anyone. It's complete nonsense. In essence, ladies and gents, I don't really think you get a more emphatic denial than that, do you, of a story? So we will have to see. Now, because it is match day, did it on the post-conference presser, but I always think it's good just because sometimes I might change my mind. Hey, we all change our mind, don't we, at times? What am I, sound like Infantano, I was going to say, what do I feel this morning? What I'm feeling this morning is Liverpool will still win. I don't think it will be the easiest game. I do think we will need to be patient. I had my lineup. I'm keeping largely the same. Kelleher, Robbo, Trent, BBD. I do think Konate will get the nod. I do think Ibu Konate will go 3 games in a week, which would have been unheralded and probably saw just a leg fall off under Jurgen Klopp. But I do think that will happen. We will have to see. The midfield 3, I think, will be the same. Absolutely the same. Again, of Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai. The front 3. Salah on the right, naturally, which just again one will have. This one is really, really hard. I still think it'll be Jota. I just have to be honest on that. There's nothing that suggests, and he even got asked in the press conference, that he really fancies Darwin Núñez. In fact, when he was asked about, the player, he even mentioned later on, because Diego's been playing well recently, I don't think Jota's really been at it the last few games, as many will have, but hey-ho, we'll all have our opinions on that. But I suspect it will be Jota starting, and Núñez will start the Carabao Cup against West Ham, which just leaves the final spot. And as I said, I can make a case for Gakpo, I can make a case for Diaz. I'm going to go with Diaz. I do think he'll get back in. I think he'll be ready and refreshed. I wouldn't genuinely be asked either way. Genuinely wouldn't. Not even remotely. So we'll see. But that's what I predict. My score and scorers, I am predicting, ladies and gents, 2-0. And I'm also predicting a Mo Salah goal at the same time. So we'll see. They are weird, but Saturday morning, I think the light's getting even worse all of a sudden. It's supposed to be lighting up, but hey ho, such as breakfast time around here. Now, I said breakfast, didn't I? I'm going to the match later. Let me give you the best tip I think you can get for around the Liverpool area. This is worth every second of you listening. So, if you're a regular match goer, you'll have your routine, whether you be the Flatiron, Hotel Anita, wherever. Everyone will have their routine. That's absolutely fine. Usually, if you go for home bake, for a pie, and all that, there's nothing wrong with that. Not saying there's anyone to change that. However, this might be a jewel of L4 that people have not found. County Road, just across from Goodison, literally just across from the Dixie Dean statue, the Hot Wok. An absolute jewel in the crown of L4. Could easily just bypass it if you park that way or are down that way at all, but it's well worth the trip across Stanley Park, ladies and gents. Make zero mistake about that. The food, the Chinese in the Hot Wok, is erotic. Get this, ladies and gents. For £7.50, it's their match day special. You can literally get sort of like a menu option. So you can get like rice or chips. I always go for the half rice and half chips, just a spectacular combination. And then you've got your mains. You can have crispy chili chicken, salt and pepper chicken, sweet and sour, I think chow mein, all sorts of things. And then you finish it with your drink and can. How much do you think that would be? A real good Chinese. And when I say good Chinese, it's in those orientally assembled boxes, the special ones, the ones that can hold an absolute mountain of food that could keep you going for days in the wilderness. All that, ladies and gents, the Hot Wok match day box, £7.50. That don't even get you like a KFC nowadays, does it? Let's be honest. Honestly, if I was to give you the tip, if you've not gone there, and how the frig they're not paying me for advertising or whatever, I have no idea. But match day special, if anyone's going for the first time or got the opportunity to go to here for the first time, even if you're a regular match goer, the Hot Wok, County Road. That is the best scran you will get, I promise you. To that. So we won't finish on a meal, though, because I'm looking here at the other headlines and the bits. Christian Falk has said, and a few have got this, that Liverpool are interested in Florian Wirtz. That would be Florian Wirtz, the Bayer Leverkusen starter, the guy who shone for Germany, was a key part, maybe the key part in their win of the Bundesliga last season over Bayern and Stuttgart. A player that I even heard described the other day as, along with Victor Boniface, maybe the best 9 and 10 currently on form in Europe. So Liverpool are apparently interested in him. No shit. I'll help complete the rest, Christian Falk. So are Real Madrid. So are every city, every team on the continent is keeping an eye on Florian Wirtz. They're also keeping an eye on Musiala, aren't they? Who's in the last, or will have a year left to go at the end of this season as well. But headlines, ladies and gents, sometimes it's not saying lazy or anything, but Liverpool are interested if one of the best players of that age group in the world comes on the market. There's some stuff you just don't need to write or say, is there, so to speak, or maybe just be easy clickbait, I think, to be honest. The other thing to say is it'll be a huge amount of money. It will be big wages. With the new structure change, could you see us in for that? I'm struggling to see that being Liverpool style, but who knows? Who genuinely knows? Because we didn't really sign many players, did we? The only other thing I would say ahead of Bournemouth, I'm looking forward to, could we see some proper minutes for Federico Chiesa? That would be nice to see at the same time. But that's kind of your roundup of articles, that first bit, the different bits that we've seen. So what other things did I want to call out? If you are looking to fill your time, there are quite a few post-conference pressers out for this morning. Harry did his normal cracking rival recons with Chris, Bournemouth fan, so that is a good one to listen to. So if you're looking to fill your time, rival recon, post-conference presser, two to call out. And then one that I really want to call out because I know they put some brilliant work into it. I'm probably doing it a disservice, but for anyone who's listened to it at all, the Minefield podcast. So Alan and Andrew, it's the sports psychologist pod that they do. It's absolutely brilliant. I know they're going through the sort of selection changes. Spoiler alert, I've listened to it, so I don't want to give too much away. So I don't know if they'll appreciate it or not. I'm not going to say this, though. I think it's a brilliant pod. So definitely, the three I've listened to this morning, Rival Recon, Post-Conference Presser, and the Minefield pod especially, a real jewel in the crown if you're listening this morning at the same time. What will be coming later? Well, it'll be raw, won't it, with the lads? So Trev, Dave, I genuinely no idea. It could be Carl, Harry, whoever's joining them for afterwards. So that'll be some nice listening for me on the way back up the motorway. But yeah, hopefully it'll be a positive one in a very different feel than the Forest game a week ago as well. Tomorrow, I'll have Grizz on the Daily Red. So we'll see how we got on. Hopefully we're talking about a victory. Who knows what we're talking about? Who knows who will be buying which player will be buying a football club or which player will be doing all sorts of things. Who knows? Wouldn't it be nice if we had some contract talk at the same time? If you go into the game, enjoy it. Let's make the atmosphere good. If you're watching the game, hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you see some goals. And whether you're in the stadium, whether you're on the other side of the world, let's all hope, ladies and gents, we are watching Liverpool steamroller Bournemouth. Let's be honest, though, we would just take even a tidy 2-0 win, wouldn't we? So I'm off to grab a few bits. Headed down to Anfield. Hopefully we all have a good Saturday. But for the 21st of September, that was your Daily Red.